Welcome back to 33-year-old boomer ranting in the woods. AI will not replace me. Am I being arrogant? Let's talk about it. So, will AI replace me? What does that even mean? If you are human, if you're watching this, your brain is a marvel of biology. Your brain can process huge amounts of data on the power produced by half an almond. Meanwhile, an LLM needs to burn down a forest to figure out whether this cat in this funny video is wearing a hat or not. The AI is not superior to you. The AI is a bunch of tricks that have been cleverly marketed in order to instill fear. And it's worked. Investors have poured trillions into AI out of fear that they might miss the last investment ever. I mean, that's what that is, right? If you build a product and you claim this will replace everyone, then AI is going to be the last investment that anyone can ever make. And that fear is a fantastic motivator. If you are human, you can adapt, you can learn, you can do things that the AI can never do. You have a divine essence that machines, whilst fascinating, simply do not possess. I am so tired of seeing young people, Gen Z, teenagers, depressed by this, just ready to die, ready to be swallowed up, ready to be buried, because they see no future. They think that machines will replace them. They think that they will never be able to have a family. They think that nothing will ever matter because the machines are here and you, fleshy human, are now obsolete. I've mentioned this before, but I suspect that all this AI propaganda is an unintentional IQ test. It's filtering out those that can think from those that can't. The giver, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, has decided that you are to be tested. It has decided that you are not to have the same path as the boomers, where for the first time in history, and perhaps the only time in history, people just lived on easy mode. The universe has decided that your path will be different, that you will get to have more meaning in your life than the boomers, whose meaning came from buying RVs and constantly going on holidays. Do not envy the boomers. The boomers lived in luxury, but truly they had nothing. When you fill your house with garbage, when you have a massive house, when you have free cars, that is because you are empty. And all these economic advantages that the boomers had simply hollowed them out. The universe has mercifully decided that will not be our path. The universe has decided that we have a chance to be human again. Will you rise to the occasion, excited to suffer, excited to squeeze meaning out of reality? Or will you cower in fear? Oh, boo-hoo, life is hard. Ooh. Life has always been hard. Life has never been fair. My great-grandfather had to build his house with his bare hands. When he was a child, he came across an unexploded shell from World War I, and he played with it. Of course, the shell went kaboom, and that caused him to lose sight in one of his eyes. This is a bad thing, right? Was it? The fact that he lost his sight in one of his eyes meant that he was unfit for service in World War II. Do you see what I'm saying? Something that happens that appears to be bad doesn't have to be bad. It can actually be a gift in disguise. Look, humans have always had it hard. My ancestors told me stories about how during World War II, they had to drink water from the belly of a dead horse in order to survive. That was Eastern Europe for you right there. Just some of the most unbelievable, nightmarish things. If you ever want to stay awake all night, just Google the Holodomor. Google the stuff that happened behind the Iron Curtain. My ancestors went through that. My father, when he was of age, he wanted to go to university to become a lawyer. This was under communist Romania. So he traveled to Bucharest, and he was in the middle of his exam when a man in a trench coat literally walks into the room, says my father's name, and tells him to come out. At which point he informs him that his father's fifth removed cousin or something has fled the country. Because of course you weren't allowed to leave. And because of that, his entire bloodline and anyone who was remotely connected to him genetically no longer had the right to attend university. That sucks. That really sucks. I implore you to use your brain. I implore you to learn something new every day. You live in the grandest MMO ever designed. You get to level up if you so choose. I actually have a video right here about solo leveling, the anime, and how it's actually a metaphor for programming. And look, not everyone should code. Not everyone has to learn how to code. That's not my point here. My point is that you have more agency than you realize. You have more power to change your destiny than you think. Most people right now are very low in terms of morale. They've been beaten down for decades. They think that AI is coming. They think that they will be replaced. And they think that there is nothing that they can do about it. However, as the Gen Xer boomers say, it ain't over until the fat lady sings. No one can promise you an easy life. I can't. No one can. However, what I can promise you is that as long as you're here, as long as you live, you will have options. You will have opportunities to better yourself. That is the thing that you actually have control over. Learn adapt. And no, it isn't fair, I agree. It's not fair that we were raised in this easy, cushy world, told that, hey, you just have to go to university. Any degree is a good degree. As long as you go to uni, you can get a job for the rest of your life, and you'll be cushy, and you'll have a free car garage, and you'll live in a big McMansion. That was all a lie, obviously. And it's not fair that you were promised that, and now you're being thrown to the wolves. I agree, it isn't fair. However, are you going to let some nerds from Silicon Valley bully you around like this? Are you going to let them tell you that you might as well give up, bro, because our AI is coming for you? I don't think so. I think that if you believe that, you wouldn't have made it so far into this video. I think that if you believe that, you may not have even clicked on this video. And maybe you're not sure if you believe it or not. But here's the thing. If this AI dystopia is inevitable, I ask of you, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose by trying? What do you have to lose by learning? What do you have to lose by living your life and hugging trees and hugging your friends and being with your family? Because if all this is inevitable, yeah, it doesn't matter, right? You learned all these skills and none of it is useful. However, I wonder, what if you're wrong? What if this AI dystopia is simply a marketing play by AI companies to convince everyone to invest in them? What if that's all that is? And in a few years, you're going to be looking back at it and going, oh, that was dumb. That was just like NFTs and crypto that are now worth less and less. What if that's what this is? Because if that is what this is, and I think that's what this is, you will be 5 to 10 years older. You will be 30, you'll be 40, and you won't have any skills. And all these opportunities that would exist under this assumption will be forever out of your grasp. Because by that point, you'll be broken. If you would have spent 5 to 10 years as a doomer, even if you have the time to learn some new skills and prosper, you won't be able to, because you'll be a shell. You'll be a shell of a person consuming slop on your phone, consuming slop as fuel. And I don't know, I think that's a very sad existence to have. I think you should always have hope. And you might say, oh, but it's false hope, bro. You don't know that. The doomer approach that you have decided to live by, you don't know whether that's true. You're just choosing to believe some people whose interest is convincing you that you have no hope. The truth is that no one really knows what's going to happen. However, if you want to have a good life, if you want to have a meaningful life, you should never ever give up. Because remember, it ain't over until the fat lady sings. See you in the next one.